Yeah, I played Tales of Portia.
I've been eyeballing that game for a while.
My Time in Portia.
Yeah, what do you think of it?
Yeah. It's good. It's got some jank to it. I don't know much about the developers. Doesn't seem like they made tons of games though. It might have been their first one, at least at this scope. So there's some janky things. The animations aren't great. It could be like a lot better. Seems like it's not as fluid as in some games because they don't have as many frames of like animation put in there. And it's like some of the systems too are like kind of mid-tier. Like the combat is a little floaty. But for the type of game it is, it's pretty good. It's pretty serviceable because it's not a game meant where you're like fighting all the time. It's kind of a Harvest Moon style game, but you're like in a town, you're starting a farm or a workshop that your dead dad or grandpa left to you, and so you join this like builders guild, and there's other builders, and you all take contracts for the people of the town, and you expand your workshop and your farm and start growing food, and you can get animals, and I think they released so you can ride horses now. And then there's the mines. You go in and you mine, and there's like these monsters that you can kill to get resources and stuff as well. And there's a whole system very similar to Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley, where you have friendship with the townspeople, and you can marry one of them and have a kid, and upgrade your house and all the upgrades, and change your clothes and get better armor and stuff. So it kind of takes a little bit of everything and puts it together very well in a very pretty 3D world. It's a fairly vertical world in that way. It looks very beautiful. Some of it looks like a veneer, but because you can't go into like buildings and stuff for the most part. But overall, it's very charming. Characters are all like kind of unique, and it gives you this kind of dreamy, fun, vibe while you're playing it. And yeah, I really dig it. Like, there's some cool ideas too, where they kind of get around the jank with things. Where it's like, if you go to one chest on your little base area, you can just click next on the top tab, and it'll go through all your chests. So you could put all your chests locked in your house and just put one outside, and that'll allow you to access all of them. So it's very cool with little things like that, where it's almost like they came up with them to work around the parts, whereas like their chests are a little too small or they take up too much space. And so like that's really cool. There's the storylines it's a little like kind of vague, but there's a lot of unique stuff going on in the world that like intrigues you, because clearly you have these old cities, futuristic cities, but you find like scrap CDs and junk from like a modern era, and you can either turn those into like the priest who's like, these are bad technologies and I'll give you good technologies like seeds to grow plants, or you can take them to the science lady and she like studies them, and you can unlock stuff that way. So there is this kind of weird kind of background, like world that feels like real, and it feels like they had some cool, interesting ideas that they put into it. And yeah, overall, I'd say there's a lot of stuff to do. I'm just scratching the surface.
It got very positive reviews, 25,000. So that's very solid base of reviews. So that's promising. And it came out 2019, so it hasn't been out long. Every time
it was in early access for a bit too.
But it's full release now. Looks like. Yeah. Every time I look for a new game to play that's like Stardew Valley, I always come across My Time at Portia, and I just never pull the trigger and actually get it and play it. So it's interesting to hear your perspective on that. I did notice that it's not co-op though, or at least it doesn't say it on Steam.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. Because
the world is big. Like, it would be useful to have other people.
Yeah, that'd be really sweet if they were able to introduce that somehow.
It's definitely a good game, though. I'd recommend it. They're working on a new one, too, called My Time at Sandrock. So hopefully they take all the success they had here and make a game that's as good and as big and unique, but a little more polished. And again, it's like nothing that's like deal breaking, and even the stuff, like most of the stuff's not even that irritating. It's just like a little rough around the edges, you know, like a teddy bear you've had too long. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, so the developer on that is Pathia Games. Interesting. I haven't heard of them before. But yeah, you know, what a lot of developers do is that they do exactly that. They'll make a game, and then they have this huge code base from that game, and they can pretty much copy and paste it over and use it in a new game and kind of improve upon it and like make a whole new product with a lot of the same guts and internal organs of a previous game they had made, so they can kind of scale up the quality and the complexity by moving laterally like that.
So it looks like they made Planet Explorers. It's an open world sandbox RPG. I never played it. I've always seen it kind of come up on Steam every once in a while. But that's the and Ever Forward, which I've never heard of.
Yeah, and then
it just came out last year.
And then Team 17 is the publisher behind that, which they're huge, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it's 17 guys wearing wizard hats.